The demon comes out when you expel it. The stronghold comes down when you demolish it with the Bible.
There's hyper-aggressive Tennessee pastor Greg Locke destroying a Barbie Dream House with a Bible strapped to a bat, quickly throwing away a couple $100 that his flock paid him in tithes for this spectacle. But no one was fazed by what seemed to me as a blatantly disrespectful and violent use of the Bible, probably because they've already seen things like this from him.
We so believe in our First Amendment right to gather under this tent and to worship Jesus Christ, that if you show up with your propaganda machine and you try to impede on our First Amendment right, I said our boys will meet you at the door of this tent with our Second Amendment right, because we're not playing your Democrat games. This is a church.
I'm sorry, this is going to turn into a Greg Locke moment. You might ask yourself, who's infiltrating this guy's church?
We got first and last names of 6 witches that are in our church. And you know what's strange? 3 of you are in this room right now. Three of you in the room right now. You better look in my eyeballs. We ain't afraid of you, you stinking witch. We got your first name. We got your last name. We even got an address for one of you. We got all 6 of their names. All 6 of them.
Pastor Locke's aggression towards Barbie and witches may be something he laughs about as he counts the money his followers give to him every week. But the fact that they seem to take this insanely clownish behavior to heart is part of a dangerous trend, radicalizing gullible followers to believe in an American theocracy.
To achieve a healthy society, the Bible should form the basis of all our social and relational activities, all of our financial and business activities, all of our moral and religious activities, and all of our governmental and political activities.
Social and relational, financial and business, moral and religious, as well as governmental and political activities. That guy is from a Christian nationalist group called Christians Engaged. And while they have no direct power on our government, we have seen elected officials continue to cozy up to them without rejecting their extreme beliefs for an unrelenting theocracy, like Spokane, Washington Mayor Nadine Woodward, who was prayed over by far-right pastor Matt Shea, who's a former Republican state legislator, by the way, that was booted from the party for having participated in an act of domestic terrorism.
Lord, encourage them. Give them courage, your courage, to stand on the foundation, the rock, Jesus Christ. Give them right now unwavering ability to speak the truth into the darkness.
Shea's act included him planning, engaging in, and promoting a total of 3 armed conflicts of political violence against the United States government in 3 states outside of the state of Washington over a 3-year period. The report also shows his ties to the far-right militia movement, in addition to a document he authored laying out the, quote, biblical basis for war, which would include their enemies having to surrender to an end to all abortions, same-sex marriage, their perception of idolatry and communism, and a general obedience to their version of biblical law. And if all that godly righteousness doesn't work, it's time to then kill all the males. Yes, their bastardization of the Bible always seems to eventually get back to killing their biblical enemies, which conservatives have equated with their political enemies for absolutely no reason whatsoever.
The entire book of Deuteronomy is a political book. It's Moses' farewell address, where he doesn't get to go into the promised land. He is telling the people that he led in the next generation that is going to fulfill God's promise, and Moses gives this triumphant farewell address, telling you, here's how you should set up the government. Here's how you should separate powers. You should have consent to the governed. You should have an independent judiciary. And guess what? We get that in Deuteronomy 6, we get love the Lord your God with all your soul, strength, and mind, which Jesus said is one of the laws of which all the laws of the prophets hang upon. So it's not political, it's biblical.
No explanation as to why the United States of America should follow whatever he claims Moses said to do, except that they believe their beliefs are superior to anyone else's. And whether it's Moses or Trump, unsurprisingly, the reason everyone should fall into line behind their death cult is because God will kill you if you don't worship Donald Jesus Trump, says this prophet.
There's people that talk about there being Trumpism and excessive adulation of Trump, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they miss that throughout history, quality leaders have lost their commission and or their lives by not recognizing who God is working through. This is the word. The Trump train is coming in and taking off. Get on board. That's the key part, is get on board. Last chance.